back, everybody, to the third and final, for now, lesson of learning the number system. And the reason why I say for now is because I may do a fourth lesson for piano/keys based off of feedback and certain topics that you guys want me to really dig a little bit deeper in and explain a little bit deeper and further. But today, I know it says common chord progressions and shapes, but we're gonna kind of flip this and go shapes first, then chord progressions. Just kind of, I feel like it would be better that way and kind of give us a better understanding. So some of these shapes I really want to bring to your attention. I know many of you have started or have played for years dealing with chord charts. And I'm sure a lot of these chord names you'll be very familiar with and will instantly recognize what they are and how they're played. And a lot of these will help you even in identifying where certain numbers in the pattern are very quickly. And that first shape I want to get into is a sus4. Y'all know what it is. We're going to do it in C just for a common ground, C for common ground. So say we're in C, a sus4, and I don't care what the young people say, sus does not mean weird or suspicious. In music, sus means to move a note from one place to another, specifically the third note of the scale. So when we're looking at a C sus2 or a C sus4, either one of those, what this is telling us is that we are starting with a C major chord, and then once we get past this C major chord, everything past the initial C sharp or like C flat, anything past flat and sharp, the letter and flat and sharp, everything else after that, whether it be minor, suspended, all of those other words of that sort, they are telling us how to change from this original major chord and to make it something else. So we're dealing with a C major chord, first of all. So that, of course, is C, E, and G. We have this major chord. Now, sus tells us to move, and of course, like I said, it's talking to the third note of the scale, which is E. We're going to move this E to the fourth note of the scale, which is none other than root, whole step, half, root, whole step, half. We're at F. So here we are, we have a sus4, which is a lot of times I play them thumb, ring, pinky. Thumb, ring, pinky is how I play these. If you can, I hope you can see that very clearly, but that's how I play my sus4s. And what this does is, anytime I have a song, which we're kind of diving right into this common chord progressions, anytime we have a chord progression that goes from 1, 4, let's say 1, 4, 6, 5, let's see, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the song Trading My Sorrows. I'm trading my sorrows. That's a 1, 4, 6, 6, 5, 1, 4, 6, 6, 5, the whole song. A lot of contemporary music these days, contemporary gospel is like a 4-chord progression, copy and pasted 20 times. You're going to do it about 50 times in the bridge. That's all humor, no shots at songwriters. But you will find that these chord charts repeat themselves, and if you can nail it the first time, you've got the whole song. So this sus4 position helps us quickly identify where we're going. We know that our 1 of this chord progression here, a 1, 4, 6, 5. This is Trading My Sorrows. Trading My Sorrows. Let's just, that's not a W. So Trading My Sorrows. Okay, so we have 1, 4, 6, 5. So right off the top, this sus4 helps us identify our 1 and our 4 straight off the top. We know that 1, 4, 5. 1, 4. So we know that this chord progression for this song is C. This is our 1, 4, which is F, and then we have a 6. So we know our 5 is where our pinky is. We know our 6. This is our 5. I know I'm kind of moving quickly. You can always rewind and go back and kind of break these down throughout your keys. But for the sake of time, I'm going kind of fast. We know that the interval between 5 and 6 is a whole step in our major pattern. So we're dealing with the 6 here. So here's our 5. That's where our pinky lands for our root major chord. We know a whole step up from that is our 6. So our 6 is going to be here, and that will be an A. And of course, we have our 5 here. So if we're looking in C, we know that the chord progression for this song is C, F, A, G. Now, before I move on any further, I just want to clarify, and I had a question about this right before I started teaching this lesson. Someone was walking out of the room, and we were talking and discussing the number system, and they were asking, how do you know which chords, in relation to the number system, how do you know which ones are majors and which ones are minors? And very quickly, I want to answer that before we move on. We know right off the top of our head, in our major scale, our root, the 4th, and the 5th are all majors. So that is a 1. Once again, this sus4 shape that we're dealing with is all of our majors. That is all of our majors as far as in relation to the major scale. If you're going to play it in chords, your root will be a major. Your 4th note of the scale will be played as a major, and also your 5th will be played as a major. Everything else, with the exception of the last whole step, we'll get into this half step a little bit later, but your 2, your 3, your 2, your 3, yes, your 2, your 3, and your 6 will all be minors. These are all minors, and I should have, for all you chord charters, I should have written this as a capital M. That's a major, that's a major, that's a major. The rest of these are minors. 2, 3, and 6 are minors. So let's just go through this very quickly in the key of C. If we are, let's just identify these very quickly. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C, okay? So C, of course, will be what? A major. It is our root, okay? Then when we come to the 2, which is not a 1, 4, or 5, so we automatically assume it is a minor. 3 as well, minor again. We come to that 4, that sus4 shape again. 4th finger, we're back at a major. Once again, 5th, 1, 4, 5, another major. 6 is not a 1, 4, or 5, so it is a minor. And the 7th note of this scale, is a diminished. We will get into that at a different time, but for the sake of time, we will just say that we play a 5 over 7. 5 over 7. 5 in the right hand, 7 in the left, okay? Text me, call me if you need any clarification on as to what that is, but you play the major of the 5 chord, and your bass will play a 7, okay? Jumping right back into what we were talking about before, as far as common chord progressions. Perhaps the most common chord progression I have dealt with, and this is used by gospel artists as well as secular artists alike. It is probably one of the most overused chord progressions on the face of the earth, and that is the 1-5-6-4. You will find this in many songs, such as Freedom by Eddie James and so many others. You deal with this chord progression, but it's very common, and it's one of the ones, if you're going to play by the number system, you've just got to have this chord progression down and be very quick about it. So let's jump right into that. Once again, 1-5. What is our 1 and 5? We talked about it in last lesson. Thumb, pinky, 1-5. If we look at all of these, if we look at each finger as if it in relation to number, my thumb is technically my first finger, my pinky is my last. So 1-5, automatically I know where the first two chords of this chord progression are 1-5-6-4. We'll just go with Freedom as the song. You can go and listen to all of these songs as we go through the different chord progressions and whatnot, so you can actually get an ear on what these chord progressions sound like. And you know, as your ear develops, you'll be able to listen to a song and be like, okay, that's that chord progression. And at that point, all you just got to find out is where they're starting from, and you'll know how to play that song. That's how quick this gets. But once again, we're digging into 1-5-6-4. Once again, that's 1-5-6-4. So 1, we know automatically we are starting with our root chord. Whatever chord that would be of course, a C major. A C major is where we would start. Then we would go to a 5. I'm trying not to stand in your way too much so you can see everything. Next, we're dealing with a 5. That last finger, thumb, pinky is here. We'll just move our major chord to this G major here, because a 5, 1, 4, 5 is majors. We just seen that up here. 1, 4, and 5 are all majors. I don't know why I erased that, but for reference, here we are. 1-5, we know where our 5 is. Of course, our 6 is a whole step up from our 5, and our 4 is a whole step down. Easy as that. From 5, your next numbers are a whole step away, regardless of which direction you go. 5 to 6 is a whole step. 5 down to 4 is a whole step as well. Once again, just kind of digging into and reviewing back on our second lesson. Our half steps are only from 3 to 4 and 7 to 8. So anything moving from a 2 to a 3, whole step. 2 to a 1, whole step. Anything not involving a 3 to a 4 or a 7 to an 8 is a whole step. Only 3 to 4, 7, 8 are half steps. So this is this progression has a lot to do with whole steps. This is a 1, a 5. I'm gonna move up just a whole step, then I'm gonna move down back to the 4 again. Once again, if you're ever needing help finding the 4, once again, we use the sus4 position to find our 4 from our root chord. Okay, I hope this has made sense. Just Freedom, 1-5-6-4. I can't think of one right off the top of my head for 1-6-5-4. Let's see. Let's do a 4-1-5. Let's do a 4-1-5. A 4-1-5. If you're ever familiar with the song Tremble, Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. That is a 4-1-5 progression. 4, 4, bring it all to peace. Da, 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 1, da, 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 back to a 5. Da, da, I can't think of the name, the words right off the top of my head. Sorry, I'm more of a musician than I am a singer. But once again, this 4-1-5 progression, if you would like, go listen to the song Tremble. It's on Planning Center. I'm not going to put anything up here that's not in Planning Center. I'm not sure if Trade in My Sorrows is in there. I will go check, but Trade in My Sorrows is another one. I encourage you, go and put your ear on these chord progressions. It really helps progress you further. But this is just about wrapping up this lesson. If you have any questions, please get with me as you go through these. I do not recommend that you listen to these back to back. I will say that again. I do not recommend that you listen to these lessons back to back. I would encourage you to listen to lesson 1, then spend some time on your piano, really digging into nailing the major pattern like we covered in the first lesson. And then once you've got that down in all 12 of your keys and you feel comfortable with the intervals, I would move on to the second lesson, which was applying that pattern and identifying what numbers are which. And then once you get comfortable with that, then I would move on to lesson 3. So I do not expect anyone to come to me tomorrow and be like, I got the number system. It's not the way it works. I can teach you this. You can watch these over and over and over, and you will not get good with this number system unless you apply it and you play it repetitiously. Repetition is your friend when it comes to learning the number system and being familiar and really progressing with this. So once again, I would encourage you, listen to 1, master 1, listen to 2, master it, listen to 3. And then if you have any questions after that, please hit me up, send me a text, see me at church, something of that nature, and I will answer those questions. But that is all for now. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for serving, and we'll see you in the next one if we have one. But thank you for tuning in.